I always was sort of anti-organization by nature because my whole nature was artistic. But when I got to SRF and I found how really it needed organizing, because Master didn't really found SRF in the sense that you'd think a founder would found something. He did it very much in the Indian way. And he didn't control anything. He put me in charge in 1949 of the monks. At that time, and he got Mount Washington in 1925, so it's nearly a quarter of a century, there were no rules at all. I mean, yes, you had to not drink and a few things, but no system, no classes, no group meditations. And believe it or not, when I first tried, maybe Master did this to get me to see the need for it. I don't know. You can think of all sorts of explanations. None of them make much sense. But every time I would try to get a group class going with meditation, he would call first one upstairs for some sort of meeting with him, then another, and then another. Finally, I was left alone. I just came to realize that he really didn't like organization. Sister Ganamata said, well, you'll never be able to organize this work as long as he's alive. Why? Well, I think the most possible reason that is that he was our guru and not the head of an organization with people under him whom he delegated. But even that's a bit of a sort of artificial, because I know one time I asked him, he used to call me Walter. So, and of course, as you know, that isn't my name, but in Italy they think it is my name and they all call me Signor Walter. Or they think I'm Signor Donald and my first name is Walter. But anyway, I said to him, sir, should the monks call me Don, as they were calling me, or should they call me Walter? And he said they should call you Reverend Walter. Well, I hastily dropped the whole subject like a hot potato. But then he said, it isn't that anybody is over or better than anybody else, but in an army you need captains. And I was the captain, I was in charge, so he for that reason he said it. And so he did have some idea of an organizational structure, but indeed he was not, he was really the father of each person, and everybody felt he could go to Master. So in the organizational structure of SRF, it was not really organized until I came along. And the first one was my organizing the monks. Then the women saw, oh, what a great idea, well, let's all get organized. So they began to take what I did and they organized the women. Then I gave classes for the monks, and I had careful outline of subjects so that others could take those notes and give the same class, basically. And the women got those, and Sister Shada, who was the member of the board, thought they were wonderful, and they came to be known as Shada's notes. And now we have those notes with perhaps 2 stories of hers mixed in with them as Shada's classes. But in fact, they were my classes. But I asked Master different times questions about things he would like for the monks to do. When you hear of how he trained people for this thing and that thing, well, I think probably being in charge of the monks and organizing the monks was an important part of the work. So I can tell you with some personal experience that he really didn't do much of that at all. We had to tune into him and feel what he wanted, and then he either, sometimes he said that better do it that way rather than this way, but he never said that to me. I did say the other day that toward the end of his life, he said, you have pleased me very much, I want you to know that. But that's all he said that I can remember, except a corrective when I asked him if it was good to teach stories of Krishna as illustrations. And he said, well, be careful, because some of them are far from true. They're allegorical, and they should be done with understanding or not done at all.